That was abrupt.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Emma. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And you?
Amazing. Very good.
Lovely.
I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, I am too.
Thank you, everybody who is watching this on LinkedIn. Delighted you could join us for our 2023 design trends predictions, how that can help your business moving forward.
Exciting.
We even have our lovely title slide there. So just as a brief sort of introduction, Jess, if you could jump on a slide, please. There we are.
For those of you who don't know us, I know lots of you do, but I'm Emma, Senior Account Manager at Entice Creative.
And I'm Chris, Creative Director here at Entice, and some pictures of us. So if we could jump on again, please, Jess, to the next slide, please. Thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through our sort of thoughts. We've just picked out a few sort of selections of what we think is going to be sort of not big necessarily, but what is going to be good for your business creatively in the next year.
So what's going on with the world?
What's going on with the world? So
what's going on?
This is where we've started. So you're not going to be able to read a lot of this. This has been created as a sort of a blog as well. So it will be made available for download. So don't worry if you can't see that text. We'll take you through it. But firstly, what is going on in the world? We've got to really understand sort of the climate. There's a lot going on. We've got inflation, cost of living. It's all quite sort of bleak in many ways. Climate crisis, conflicts everywhere. So it's a very sort of uncertain place at the minute. And personally, I think that's where, as designers and creatives and as marketeers, we sort of need to respond to this, try and make people feel more positive about things and help brands survive and prosper and build on what they've already got. So I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed old bag, really, when it comes to sort of trends and what's going to be popular in the next year. But I think there's got to be a focus on optimism, playfulness, nostalgia to a degree as well. And I think that'll, as we get onto that, sort of bring you up to why with that. But yeah, I think there's a lot going on, and I think there's a lot we can do to address it and to sort of help people feel a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're having a lot of these conversations with our clients, you know, trying to stay ahead of the game, like you say, help their brands stand out, you know, and speaking to them about these trends. And we've, you know, even from last year, looking at a lot of the work we're doing for our clients, a lot of the work we were producing actually falls in line with a lot of these trends going into 2023. So it's great to know that we as an agency are supporting our clients with current hot topics as well.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. So on to the next slide, please, Jess.
Thanks, Jess. So again, sort of what are people saying in terms of the importance of creativity in business? So our most recent research that we've found from other studies have shown that sort of 99% of clients believe that the need for exceptional creativity has never been greater. Obviously, in a world where we're saturated with sort of ad campaigns, images, how do we help our clients to stand out? 96% of clients believe that breakthrough creative ideas are more likely to come from an external agency than from within their organization. Obviously, a lot of our clients are head down, they're busy in their day-to-day. So it's great that we as a team are able to support them in producing this amazing breakthrough creative. 85% of clients also believe that good design is a very important contributor to business success. And we fully believe that at Entice.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting stats, these, because considering there's so out of 600 odd clients interviewed, they're so high. I think it shows what sort of level of importance people put on this. So
absolutely,
it's vital, really.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Next slide, Jess.
Lovely. So very brief look at the things we're going to look at now. Some of these are, I think, more maybe visual, stylistic. Some of them, so you know, maybe not relevant for everyone, I would say, but some of them are maybe more content, messaging, that kind of thing. So I think, you know, there's something maybe a little bit more substance to them.
So what key themes are you going to talk us through?
So
I'm excited.
I like a good song. I like a bit of music. So I kind of have titled all these with that in mind. But we're going to look at, so we've got 9 sort of themes here. We've got Inclusion, diversity, people all over the world. Keep it simple. Minimalism. Do you remember? So sort of retro nostalgia, environmental and nature and whatnot. It's only natural there. We've got some abstract surrealism, which will also sort of look at the growth and development in the last year of AI, which is quite an interesting sort of topic, really. 3D. We've also got animation, motion graphics, and then we've got gradients, so a bit more stylistic, but something that personally we've pulled out, and also we've gone with dark mode, which is sort of a reaction, I think, to a lot of people with particularly mobile devices, but it's good from a UI perspective, people who are doing a lot of digital. So that's what we're going to deal with now. So
Great.
Jess, if we could move on, please. Thank you very much. So people all over the world, amazing sort of pitch from Lego who do this messaging and this kind of thing absolutely fantastically. Yeah. But I think in this day and age, inclusive design, diversity, and a celebration of that is just, common sense really and good practice. I
think, sorry to interject there, I think a lot of our clients last year, this was a big focus then as well, to showcase the inclusion, diversity within their organisation. So a lot of things we were doing on social just to make sure we were really shouting about how inclusive and diverse they are as a company and a business, but obviously not forgetting that we can showcase that through design as well. Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's not just about message, it's also about function. So it's important that, you particularly on web, you've got accessible design. So people with all abilities can view things and use your digital services, but also with, if you're more in the physical realm, if you've got products, if you've got, signage, if you've got all these other bits and bobs, I think. Can we move on to the next one, please, Jess, so we can just have a look at couple of examples. Thank you. So what we've done is we've got sort of pulled out a few different examples of what we think are good brands doing this essentially. So we've got the video, we've got Apple, just do things brilliantly, fantastic. This is called The Greatest. It's a celebration of people with disability using their products, using all the different sort of software that they have, and it's brilliant. Show how they can still be creative, how they get use their products to get through life.
That's great.
It's fantastic. We've also got Nike, who just again, they're one of the best really. This is the maternity campaign that they did, celebrating motherhood, celebrating all their different sort of maternity range, post and pre. So I think they do things really well. We've also got one of ours, Zodec. We were celebrating just the variety and the difference in their clients.
In that campaign, it's sort of do it your way, but again, showing the inclusion, diversity of different people who's setting up their businesses, and we use a range of different, really amazing sort of characters, would you say?
Yeah.
Throughout this campaign, and that one has been brilliant. So I love that, to see that we're already doing it.
I think so. And also, you've got Amazon on there. That's more about the function again. I think Apple is to a degree as well with theirs. Nike's more the messaging. I think Amazon do things really well, but it's more about the products work for your clients. Mozilla as well is all about accessibility online. So that's our sort of inclusivity, diversity, minimalism. Keep it simple. I think this is sort of progression from this year. Past year that's just gone. I think it's just something that's growing here, and really with this one, it's just all about getting rid of any additional sort of distracting design elements, pattern decoration, superfluous visuals I've written down, which I love that word. But I think it's just keeping things real. It's keeping it, doesn't have to just be white or neutral. Jess, if we could jump on actually to the next slide,
I think, again,
please.
going back to my point about we're living in a world where we're saturated daily basis with ad campaigns and things like that.
100%.
There's a need for people to go back to that simplicity, that sort of white space, just keeping the messaging really, really clear.
Agreed. I think it is, and I think it's more of a calming sort of peaceful experience, I guess, in some ways. But also, it's I think brands, there's a sort of new eco trend where they're really stripping everything back, and it's trying to sort of show authenticity, relatability. Look, we're making less of a fuss about this big fancy branding. It's just all about the product and all about this sort of minimalism. There's some nice examples on the right hand side there. I think the one I picked out here, Knock Heist. It's a Belgian resort, and apologies if I've murdered the pronunciation, but I really like this. I saw this on a branding site, and it's just the simplicity. It's effectively photography, very simple video, and that simple icon and text, and it's just it lets you do feel calm. I feel calm looking at that. I get that. So totally. it's advertising an upmarket resort, sort of beach resort in Belgium, but it's got a real premium, lovely, peaceful, great feel to it, and I think that's minimalism done really well, and that's very current. So that's interesting, and I think it's about the messaging then as well, and that's what stands out essentially.
Yeah, great.
Okay, Jess, onwards, if you don't mind. Thank you. So, retro. So, do you remember retro nostalgia? I think what is sort of pushing this one at the moment again is I've written down here soothing nostalgia, and I think because of the state of everything and how everything's going in the world, people are a little bit bombarded with all this negativity and the news and everything. So I think going back to a time when maybe things were simpler, or there's not one particular time frame or anything. We're all different ages, all our different Gen Zs and millennials and everything. So I don't think it's that. I think it's just the very fact of going back and sort of, do you remember that? Jess, if we could jump onto the next slide.
Going back does bring up a set of emotions, especially for people who've been in business a long time as well. Going back is sort of like, oh, look at the journey we've been on. I mean, we're actually doing this a lot for clients at the moment, last year and now into 2023. Revisiting sort of founder stories, showcasing old pictures of, when the business was set up, the sort of black and white images, and they've gone down an absolute storm on socials and things like that. And I do think sort of bringing that sort of backstory up and going back to the history of the business is really important as well.
Absolutely right. Yeah, totally agree with that. And I think, again, that's a messaging sort of thing as well, and going backwards. And I think we're here with, amazingly, I've put these flip phones on here. One thing I discovered was that flip phone sales last year, 2022, were up like 230% or something like that. I mean, it's something as simple as that. It sounds a little bit silly in some ways, but it's people are, realizing, I guess, that we don't need these massive things. It's going back to a simpler time, really nice, when life was a little bit, easy to sort of deal with, I suppose. One thing stylistically is the Y2K sort of aesthetic, really. There's a couple of examples there on the top right and the bottom left. Now, I was never a huge fan of this at the time, if I'm honest, but I've put that in there because it's interesting. It's almost sort of, I think it ties in some way with the rise of the metaverse, which we'll talk about, and also sort of AI and things. So it's a bit more machine led.
This down here, is this a Chanel campaign?
That is a Chanel campaign. Yeah.
So that looks like the front of my 14-year-old's diary. It looks like the collage, like I cut stuff out. And
how does that make you feel?
I feel like my teenage self just looking at that. I love it. Absolutely love it.
There you go. I think that's interesting. That, and also I've included a few examples of the floss. It's called. It's a basically just a flossing device for your teeth. But I love the way they've done it. It's very modern, but also feels quite retro.
It does.
And, certainly in the photography and whatnot.
So design, maybe then retro nostalgic design to bring out emotions and feelings in people.
I think so, because it could be, it's a tooth flosser. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily you're not going to feel nostalgic for that, are you?
No.
Oh, do you remember when I used to floss my teeth? It's more, they've chosen this aesthetic and they've gone with this particular thing, but it works, I think. And I really like that.
Great.
But with a modern twist anyway. Okay, thank you. Jess, can we jump on, please? Right.
My favourite here.
The environment. Yes. So, do you want to jump on straight to the next slide, please, Jess? That's a lovely picture, but it doesn't really tell us anything. So, climate crisis obviously rumbles on, doesn't it? It's the human effect on our planet is we're continually being reminded about it,
Yeah.
fires and floods and all sorts. So I think as businesses, as brands, it's something that very much needs addressing. There's a huge environmental impact on the world with well, everything, even running a computer, running your fleet of trucks or whatever.
Exactly.
There's a huge thing. So I think people are really interested in this. I think it's very important. Everything from packaging to print to whatnot. I think people are really jumping on this as consumers. I think aesthetically, nature's always been a source of inspiration. That's sort of a given really, but I think messaging wise now things are coming up a lot more, like Earth Day is getting referenced a lot more. Things about the future, sustainability. We realise that we need to do something about it. Now, in fact, you found this example, the IKEA one. I love this.
Yeah, love IKEA for this.
And it's I mean, go on, you talk through it a little bit, but particularly I say you talk through it and then I just jump straight on it. But I really like the clean energy stations. The things over in Australia, a lot of sunlight.
Brilliant.
Let's just get those solar panels on the roof.
And
to a point where they can actually become an energy supplier themselves.
Totally. And it's IKEA using business as a force for good again, isn't it? So people and planet, and they have always been known to, with their campaigns, to focus on the whole family. So obviously they're doing all these cardboard box kind of things for kids that you can download and make things out of cardboard boxes. And it's quite a cool way to use something that could be given sort of a negative connotation, but the packaging side of things, it's kind of, they're very hot on spotting what could be an issue and turning it into a positive.
I love that, and you're right. There's a really nice downloadable sort of PDF, but it's not just the cardboard. It's all they've got little different bits of packaging, so they use everything.
They do.
And a lot of the sort of models that they have in there are make a windmill or make a another lovely sort of environmentally linked thing.
That's
I think so. It's getting the message across to kids as well as just oh, here's a bit of fun. So I think it's great.
I think following on from where I was last week in Manchester at the Better Business Summit, a lot of the talks there about Gen Z and what they're looking for as consumers. So basically they are really questioning their brands, their products. They want to see, great policies from organizations, and they're looking and they're tracking the history of where the garments are coming from down to, and they would rather purchase or work with a brand who are actively demonstrating their sort of eco side of the business and their sort of sustainable aspects over other businesses. So it's not a trend to be jumped upon. It's very much a using your business as a force for good, and they will spot the ones that are greenwashing and the ones that aren't.
Agreed.
Gen Z are very switched on to this.
Agreed. And also the B-cert there just hiding in the corner, but there's a lot of people, a lot of our clients, a lot of in fact we're looking at this ourselves at the minute, but that's I think going to become even. You're doing a lot of research on this. I think it's going to be
definitely, sort of going through our own sort of B Corp journey and hearing from other brands like Patagonia on Thursday. They use everything down to their stores as like a gift to the community. They are very, very honest and sort of relatable, transparent in what they're using their business for. So I think this is definitely, I'd say, if there was going to be a trend, this is the trend of 2023. But again, calling it a trend seems a little bit, doesn't seem right, but it's not to be ignored.
No, agreed. But it is probably the most important one.
Definitely.
All right, onwards, Jess. Thank you. So abstracts read as may I. Just enjoy that image for a minute because I love it, but then we can jump on. So I think there's a couple of things for me, having done a little bit of quite a lot of research actually. There's the rise of the metaverse, which is, depending on where you look, either a really good thing or a terrible thing. But I think it's not just Facebook who are doing this. There's a lot of different companies, particularly gaming, who are big on the VR and that sort of immersive world. So there's that, but then there's also the AI aspect of things. I think there's it's not just visual. On the left here, these are those weird winged things and whatnot. That's all AI generated imagery, which I enjoyed playing with. But then you've also got you know, what clipdrop.co is one of them that
Yeah, so what does
recently
that do?
discovered.
Clip drop?
So you get your phone,
Yeah.
and then you take a picture of something. There's my pen,
Yeah.
boom, and it is your watermelon, and you literally it cuts it out for you,
Yeah.
and then you drop it straight on your screen, and it puts it on your design.
Very cool.
Which is insane, but that's very exciting. I mean, you've got things like Siri and Alexa, which you've known about for a while, but they are AI.
Yeah.
But then things now. Chat GPT is one of them. That's all the the little bots that come up when.
Okay.
When
yeah.
Hi,
Chatbots.
welcome to the
yeah.
site. Do you want to chat? You go, yes, please.
These more like intelligent chatbots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then they learn from you, and then Craftly, which is I've seen quite a lot of this on LinkedIn actually.
Yeah.
Writes content for you and whatnot.
Yeah.
So there's AI isn't just visual, but I think that's sort of influencing this sort of surrealism and whatnot trend. And I also think with the surrealism, again, it's that escapism thing from what's going on in the world.
Yes.
It's you can see in the middle there, Adidas, quite a few sort of visuals along this route, and I mean they're beautiful, they're lovely, but they're a bit surreal, a little bit whatever, but they just again, a sense of calm for me that I really like that, and I think that's something to sort of bear in mind. I mean, VR has obviously been around for a while, and I think certainly some of our clients more in the service industry or something like that might that might be something that you take on, and you can create an app for your phone, and an AR app, and augmented reality. So I think there's.
I mean, some of our clients are already using VR for training purposes. Training up apprentices and things like that, in sort of any number of things using VR, which we're showcasing for them to just show that they're moving with the times. We're looking all the time at trends and looking into AI for our clients, and where we can use it, where we want to avoid it maybe, but also where we want to really embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. And I was having this conversation with someone online this weekend, actually on LinkedIn. Some people are a little bit fearful of AI, I think. Robots taking over again, but I don't think it's that. I think we need to sort of embrace this and look at it as an opportunity, particularly from a visual perspective. From a sort of creative design perspective, I suppose. Definitely. It makes you look at, I wouldn't have thought of that, it makes you look at things slightly differently and maybe go down a different route.
So we'll be doing a bit of trialing out, really, won't we? As a team, we'll be trialing out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. So it's quite an exciting time.
It is, yeah, I think it is. All right, jump on Jess, please. Another dimension, with Prodigy ref, but 3D. So 3D is nothing new, but I think it's personally, and let's be frank, trends are a personal opinion, a lot of it. I think there are some things that are whatever, but I think this is what I've selected and I think will work. Now, 3D, always enjoyed. I think it's a great visual tool. I think it's a great storytelling tool. We've got Floss again in the sort of top middle there. Just love their campaign, and I've used it quite a lot. But I think 3D, it's a flossing thing, for goodness sake, but it just works as a bathroom. We've got Airbnb there. I love this campaign. This is one I've seen recently.
It's brilliant.
It's a lovely little, it makes it feel lovely about it. Even use the sort of rainbow there.
It's very friendly
and whatnot. It is very friendly. It's very relatable. It's like, that looks fantastic. I love the look of that.
You can actually go and stay in a 3D house made by 3D printers. Airbnb got the houses that have been built using 3D printers, which is so cool.
It's amazing, isn't it? That's how they're going to build houses on Mars,
Yes, on Mars.
On Mars, yeah. I've been reading about it.
But even this Microsoft build, taking what would seem probably a really boring document, taking something that's not easy for potentially your audience to digest, but making it look really friendly and approachable.
Agreed.
Using that sort of building bricks or whatever, just making it look easy to digest.
I think so, and it adds that sort of little extra dimension. I mean, there's a Toyota advert there, and it's just very similar. Just looks like paper sort of folding over, but it just again, it's. I suppose it's sort of softening stuff a little bit, making things feel a little bit more. I don't know, not safer. That's not the word I'm looking for, but just taking it away from reality a little bit as well. You can have 3D that is totally realistic and whatnot. The floss thing may be there, but I think in general it's more of this. I think slightly more abstract or just obviously
Yeah.
real. I think that really helps.
Yeah.
So I think 3D, love it, always have done, but I think that's something for 2023. So if we go on, Jess, this kind of ties in nicely. So animation. Now this is not just 3D animation. Obviously, this example here is Google, very 2D. But I think with animation and stuff, I think it's just that little extra. We're a very crowded marketplace. So if you are trying to advertise something or sell your brand, sell your product, you've got, particularly on social, how are you going to do that? How are you going to grab attention? So this is very much a way of doing it. Now these are going to load, there they come in. So there's a lot going on here. Now, if this was your social feed, you're just going to be like overwhelmed and quickly scan through it. So you've got to think about this. But I think particularly for things like what's the word? Explainer videos. That's the word I'm looking for. So how do we use this product? What is this brand? Who's this? What's this? Who's this story about? I think it's a really, really sort of impressive and important tool to use. Again, sorry, go on.
No, go on. I was going to say, we were talking about friendly before in terms of 3D. I think the animation is so friendly, coupled with things like, talking about how can you explain a product or a service to somebody, in a simplistic but friendly way. I think this just nails it.
I think it does. And there was a stat I saw, what was it, 70%. So they reckon there's going to be a 70% increase in explainer videos. So rather than, I think particularly for things like case studies, if you're looking, it could be beautifully laid out and all the right grid pattern and everything. But if it's a flat, long thing, people are not necessarily going to engage as much with that. There's going to be, if you've got a video there, people can click and watch, and it just tells you, takes you through it, even alongside the rest of the info. I think that's something that's important. And I think this is not just animation here I'm referencing, although that's pretty much what's on this page, but it is also videos as we're doing now, or along those lines where you're interviewing people, you're talking through things. It's an engaging, really useful, engaging tool.
I think so. And I think our tolerance for digesting huge chunks of information is decreasing by the day, because I think for me, I'm so time poor in our daily jobs and family life and things like that. I haven't got the time to watch somebody talking monotonously about how to use a product or a service. I haven't got the time to read a manual or sift through pages and pages of stuff. So for me, animation will grab my attention and get me looking at a 3-minute video of how to use something. I'm going to digest that and learn more from that than reading pages upon pages that someone spent hours writing.
I agree.
Because we are so fast-paced and so time poor.
I think a lot of that is to do with social media, and I don't explain for a lot of things, but just it does. We've got these filters and everything, haven't we, that we're so used to, and you get however many seconds to do it. People are used to that time span. It's just boom there. So
you want to be sold to quickly.
Exactly.
And you want to engage with something in the first second or two.
Exactly, 100%. So so that's an interesting one. So that's sort of animation movement and whatnot. So onwards we go. So the last two, so there's two more now. There's gradients and dark mode, and these are more stylistic. And I think that you wouldn't base an entire campaign or a brand around these, but for me, I just love them, and that's why I've put them in. I think gradients in particular, they were quite big in 2022. I think they're only going to get bigger. They're changing. They're sort of moving stylistically. We've got things like liquid gradients, which is the packaging sort of down there. Pointing at the screen as if people can see what I'm doing. But I just think they're again, there's something about them. I think you can have a very basic color palette, 3 or 4 colors, and then I think you create gradients, and I think you can bring more of those things in, as we have done with our branded service Endorphin, which we include there, but behind. But gradients were a big part, of our early branding with that, and I think it just in some ways adds a bit more depth as well visually. But
for me, it's really pretty to look at. It's really easy on the eye. I didn't realize how much I was drawn to actually buying products that have gradients. giant water bottle
Giant
here,
water
and
bottle, gradient.
you know, we've even done it for, like Chris said, our internal communications brand, Endorphin. You know, pens and everything's all gradient, so we're
Gradients
big
everywhere.
fans here, big fans. So yeah, no, I think it's going to be, like you say, it was about last year, but I think it'll be everywhere this year.
Yeah, I really do, and I love that little animation one going on there as well. I think there's a lot of, but you can do. Jess has jumped before we asked Jess to jump. Jess, no, it's
She's too
fine.
efficient.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Thanks,
There it
Jess.
is.
No,
Yes.
that's good. We can.
You are too efficient, Jess. That's only a
can-
positive thing. Yeah, so we could jump on, please. So, dark mode. Now, nice visual. Let's enjoy that just for 2 or 3 seconds, and then we can jump again.
Are you dark mode or light mode?
I'm
Chris?
dark mode, which is why it's here.
Dark mode.
Entirely dark mode.
Yeah.
Now, this has it's just growing in popularity. I know it's been around for a little bit already now, but I think apparently stat alert, I think 70% plus mobile users use dark mode now. Now, a little in agency sort of bit of research was pretty even. We were about 50-50.
Yeah, we were actually. Yeah.
Weren't we? So I don't know where the 70% come from, but that's what I've read. So
it is easier on the eye.
I think it
Is it
is.
not?
Yeah, I think it is, and that's apparently so.
Yeah.
So if you've got a lot of content, if you've got something that people need to spend a long time looking at,
Yeah.
dark mode's kind of on the eye,
Yeah.
and from a sort of practical perspective. But I just there's something about it. Here I've just included some nice visual examples, I think, that have been inspired by this.
Yeah.
I think it's nothing deeper than that really for me. I just think it's a lovely way to view things. I've got dark mode on everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for me, but I just think I love this, and you can really bring out some highlight colors. Now, top left,
Mm-hmm.
I've got my little switch going on there, which is a lovely little bit of animation anyway,
Yeah,
from the
that's
sun to the
great.
moon. But I think from a UX perspective, giving people an option, because there are times when I just want to look at it in white.
That's true.
Light
Yeah.
mode.
No, that would be great actually to have the option.
It would, yeah. So I think, if at all possible, making it as easy for people just to switch between. But I think dark mode for me is just the future.
No, I love
I've also included that very small, I don't know why I made it so small, but that green example there. So it doesn't just have to be like a deep blue or a black or a grey or something. You can look at sort of things that.
And do you think from a design perspective, I know we're talking about white space, but if you're putting something in this dark mode sort of background, your eyes are really drawn to the bits in colour, and the sort of, you can really make something of them. Yeah,
100%. You can highlight things easier. You can draw people's attention easier. I think definitely.
Yeah.
But it is a stylistic, slightly UX related sort of trend, but I like it. And
It is
I think it's going
nice
to be
to look at
more in the
definitely.
future. So that Jess, if you one last jump, that is us. So thank you for being here with us just over half an hour.
Thanks, Chris. Amazing presentation and research, and I enjoyed all the visuals, and I think we'll be seeing some of those in our clients' work, future clients' work. And if you've got any questions, can you please comment with them below, and we'll come back to you. We welcome lots of different questions from anybody and everybody, so pop those in and we will come back to you straight away.
Definitely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Happy 2023.